there. Welcome to another hobby. I'm Austin. Today's hobby, we're continuing week 2 of Inktober. Let's see what we get. Gristober twice. This wheel doesn't feel very random. Might have to do a different one in the future, but this one seems to pick WWATTOBER a lot, or two of the same things a lot. Alright, Gristober and caps. Reflection. We already had reflection once. And mirror. Alright, that's a little boring. I'm gonna spend 2 more and just keep mirror because we've already had reflection before. Alright, the official Inktober and Cradle Inktober. Hike and moon and mirror. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of time to work on this today. I have some stuff I have to do, so this one's hopefully going to be a bit of a quicker one. I do have a bit of an idea of what I'm going to do. Thinking something fairly abstract. Right. So what I'm thinking is reflection of the mountain, and I'm gonna have a guy hiking up, but in the reflection it's hiking up the inside of the mountain, I guess you could say. I'm gonna have to do some stuff with the colors to try and make it both read as reflection, but also as a scene. But I think I'm just gonna mostly do solid colors, strong shapes with this to keep it simple and quick. You know, maybe I'll pull in some textures to make it look like it's maybe, I don't know, construction paper or something. I got this texture from Creative Commons 0 license pack by Nobiax, Nobiax. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description or something, but that's where I got this from. Here I'm just using a mask layer so that I don't destroy the texture underneath, and I can easily add or subtract to it without it being a destructive process. This also allows me to change the color because I have the pattern on its own layer, the paper pattern, and then the color over top as a multiply layer. So if I wanted to put, say, a gradient on it, I could do that. Actually, I really like that. Yeah, if I use the same color, the same gradient, but just reversed for the sky, it should help with making the mountain range look like a mountain both in the reflection and not in the reflection. Not sure the moon works that way. Might have to make it match the reflection even if it doesn't fit the reflected scene, but we'll see. Once I add the ground, I'll see how it looks. Here I'm trying to use that circle selection, ellipses selection to try and keep the edge of the lake very clean and crisp and consistent. And I think if I make these inner corners fairly solid and tight like this, then I can use the same trick with the ellipses tool to draw these inner corners by doing something like this. And then I can just kind of smooth out the ridges afterwards. I'm going to try and add some shine to the water to make it look a little bit more like water, hopefully. Probably easiest to use a ruler for that. The trick is to do thin lines close together in the distance, thicker lines further apart as you get towards the front. Hopefully that'll give it a feeling of going off into the distance. I don't want too many in the foreground because I don't want it to obscure the character in the reflection. Not sure I like how this ground looks. It's kind of a poopy color. I'm going to play around with the tone of it a little bit. I think keeping it in the same kind of cold bluish tones of the rest of the piece should help. Maybe just turn down the saturation on it a little. I think that's a little better. I think maybe the problem is the gradient is quite a large difference between the dark and the light, which draws the eye a little bit when I want the ground to just basically fade into the background and not have anybody notice it. So I'm going to try scaling up this gradient layer so it's more like it's almost just one solid color. A slight change throughout it. A little bit bright on the horizon, but that's it. I think the ground needs to be a bit darker still. It's a little hard to see the edge where it transitions to the water. I want that to have a bit more contrast. Yeah, really dark. That helps it fade into the background too. Really makes the lake pop. Might want something in the sky that's doing a similar duty. I'm gonna try making some clouds and see how that looks. So I'm just gonna copy this whole thing, flip it, and move it up into the sky. It's already looking a little better actually. And then I just need to edit this mask so it's not just harsh lines. Although harsh lines for the clouds might fit the style still. I'll just have to maybe break it up more. Use the ellipse tool again and kind of match these shapes, but make them all into separate shapes. And then I'll just delete this mask and use that selection for a new mask. Now we just need the dude. So with this cloud layer, now that I've cropped it, there's these two spots that kind of just draw the eye a little bit too much. A couple final touches like this tend to really make things just look a little bit better. There's like a couple little spots where it feels like you can make tiny improvements. And I think those tiny improvements can make a big difference, especially for something like this that's very simple, blocky shapes. I'm gonna call that done. Thanks for watching me explore another hobby with this Inktober stuff. Have a good one.